Hey team, I promise I'll keep this very very brief as I have to keep it under 15 minutes so that I can post it on Facebook without uploading it up to YouTube. But just some quick announcements. This Wednesday, December 30th at 7 p.m., not 7:30, but 7 p.m., we're going to have our year-end finale kind of goals, game planning for 2016 session. So please come, bring your partners. For those of you that don't normally plug into our office at 3020 Penn Avenue up in West Lawn, PA, come up, bring your spouse up, drive up here and just have a great time with us. We're just going to focus on your goals. John Conover encouraged you to on Facebook to email him at conoverjohn15, that's a 15 at gmail.com, and email him what your goals are for 2016, what your next promotion, your income, maybe production goals, what you want to see happen at the next PALS recognition, maybe the next trip, licenses, and then don't forget to put your January goals for your January 2016 goals, because we would love to display that in a PowerPoint. If you can get that to him, we would love to include you in that about an hour we're going to spend together in training, and the rest of the time we're just going to have a great time of fellowship and food and games, and stay as long as you want. The party won't end until everyone leaves, and so we're just excited for Wednesday, December the 30th. A second thing that I'm kind of kicking around I really could use your feedback on is that in January, starting on Saturdays, I'm going to have a Series 6 prep course where we're going to follow exactly the Kaplan or the text teacher schedule. And my goal is at the end of January, we have got 10 people taking their Series 6 license. And then in February, we'll start the Series 63 and have 10 Series 63 test takers. And that'll ultimately give us 10 licenses. And so I know for myself, my personal goal is to have 10 new licenses, and I just want to get those knocked out in the beginning of the year. I'm confident that'll make me number one as an RVP for the Surge contest. It looks like 2015, the number one RVP in the entire company did 15 licenses. So I know if we can kind of start the year off with a bang, that'll make some huge noise. And of course, it benefits you because you're gonna feel great about having that license so early on in the year, being able to have that license at the kitchen table, adding more income, and so you'll just knock out that income goal that you have for yourself. Also, your promotion goal, if it's a regional leader, definitely needing that Series 6 and 63 license. And so please give me that feedback. That's a huge time commitment and preparation on my part. And I know it's a preparation and commitment on your part because you actually have to do the studying and take the test. But for me, I've kind of have to spend some time away from the business a little bit and just kind of focus on the licensing part, but I'm willing to do that because I know so many of you are eager to get that thing just knocked out of the way. So I'd love to hear your feedback either on Facebook or group me. But some of the thoughts I want to give to you tonight come from a call that we heard on Christmas Eve with Collis Temple. And what a great call he had. I think it was like 8 or 9 in the morning. And he just threw so many nuggets. And one of the nuggets that I heard, and it's something that you guys have heard all the time, but he talked about an RVP run is 6 to 9 months. Now, you may not take the promotion to your 12th or 18th month because you want to make sure you're seasoned and ready to take that contract on. But he really talked about an RVP run, though, being 6 to 9 months. And the time before that, because if it doesn't take you if you've been in the business longer than 6 to 9 months, he said the time before that is just the figuring out part. It's the figuring out me part. It's the self-improvement part. It's the mental part. And so Collis talked about his story. He got hurt. He couldn't play for the Detroit Pistons, and then he had the opportunity as he rehabbed to get picked up by an Italian team that wanted to pay him over $200,000 just to live in Italy and play. And he got interviewed by Bill Whittle, as we know, and Brett. I mean, not Brett, but Collis gave all that up to join the business. So he knew exactly what he wanted. He knew he needed to be an RVP quickly. He knew he wanted to get to 6 figures quickly. because he knew he gave up six figures. Now, for me and maybe even for you, RVP didn't come in 6 to 9 in six our first 6 to 9 months. But I know when I made a decision to go RVP to kind of make my run, I knew it took 6 months. But there were several years prior to that 6 months that was all used in figuring out me. Okay? There was a lot of things in my brain that I had to get out. I had a lot of doubts, I had a lot of insecurities. I cared too much about what people thought. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know exactly what I should do. I knew I loved Primerica. I loved sitting down with families. I loved people. I liked the difference that we made. But I just whatever it is, I just didn't put the pedal to the metal like I should have. I always made money, but I never really grew the business like I needed it to grow. And so I went back and I tried to figure out my recruiting numbers, and the trend track only lets me go back to my RVP start date and the following year before that. And so I can't go back and look at 2011, 10, 9, so forth like that. But I do know this. 2007, I had three recruits. One of them being Julie, and the other one being my sister, who never got licensed. And so 2007, 2008, 2009, I call those the seminary years. And so I was finishing up school. I was a roofer. I was all those things. But what I did do is I can say with complete confidence, I didn't miss any events and I didn't miss trainings. And John had them on Thursday nights and Saturday mornings. And I went. And every time I went, I grew relationships with people and I got a little bit more information in my brain. But then I would call 2010, 11, and 12 really my self-improvement years. So I had 3 years of trying to figure out me. Now that might sound crazy to you, but it is what it is. I spent 3 years, and so my car was really an education mobile. All I listened to was John Lavin, Bill Orender, Hector Lamarck, Rick Susie, Jeff Fieldstead, Brett Burks, if I didn't say Omar Oropesa, Bob Safford, all the greats, I had their CDs. And so John Lavin always gave me a CD, made a copy, kept every week I came to the meeting, gave me another CD, gave me another CD. And that was before really the SoundCloud era, the PFS media era, where we have information so easily, even on our smartphones. But lots and lots of CDs I kind of ran through, and I kind of started figuring out me. But I really want to focus, though, on my recruiting numbers, and I don't know what they were in 2009 and 2010, but I know in 2011 we started to really get close to hitting 100 recruits in a year. I'm not sure if we actually hit 100, but here's what I know. In 2011, I made a decision through the help of Bruce Kalk. He said he never knew anyone who didn't get financially independent, who didn't recruit 4 directs a month. And so I know in 2011 I did my best to always personally direct recruit. And I didn't hit 4 every single month, but I always had 2, 3, or 4 every single month. I promise you there wasn't a month I had 0. And there were probably very, 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 very few months where I only had 1. If I did, the next month I compounded out and I did my 4 for sure. And so 2 to 4 directs in 2011, 2 to 4 directs in 2012, and ultimately what happened was I know that I went over the 100 team recruits in 2012. So I was responsible anywhere between 24 to 48 of those. So almost half of the recruits were coming from me. Now, where are all those people today? I don't know. Is that my fault? No, it's not my fault. I mean, they quit on themselves, okay? I know I probably made mistakes along the way, maybe as a field trainer or as a leader, because I was still trying to figure out me, right? But I was making those recruits, okay? And I was learning and I was self-improving. But what happened is that we found our replacement leg in February of 2012. That's when Thomas came in, and so there's where a lot of the 120 plus recruits came in. And Thomas was recruiting. I had a recruiting buddy, and I was recruiting. And then on May 1st of 2013, I went RVP. So those first 4 months, I had my full team. But then the rest of the year, we had given up our replacement, but we still kept above 100 recruits. We actually finished the year with 107 recruits. The mistake I made was I stopped personally direct recruiting. I had 13 direct recruits, so I averaged just one a month. 2014, kind of a transition year for us as well, kind of moving offices and setting up offices, but our team went to 135 recruits because we started to work with the people who were still with us. I went down to 8 recruits, and then in 2015, based on the scoreboard today, we're at 160 recruits, and I have 3 direct recruits. And so I'm not here to brag and say, oh, look how little recruits I had. No. That's an area I know that I need to fix in order to build the hierarchy. But because the team recruits are growing is because of a decision I made back in 2011 and 12 that I would personally go get no less than 2. But make sure my goal was always 4 direct recruits. And man, I remember I wrote a lot of life insurance premium. I know I got promotions off my own pen because all the people that I was attempting to field train, okay, in really a Philadelphia market at that time. And so I know for me, 2016, the game needs to be personal, direct recruits. My goal, as you know, is to have 10 regional vice presidents in the next 5 years. You only need 9 to become a senior national sales director. I always wanted to make sure that my replacement leg was an RVP, and I take credit for that a little bit, for me mentally. And I always count that as kind of the 10th person, so that's kind of Thomas. And so we've got John and we've got Thomas, and so that's 2 out of our 10, so there's 8 more that we need to go after. And so that's only going to happen through the personal direct recruiting leg, because the 160 recruits that we got this year, that's a recruiting engine that's never going to stop. That's going to keep going. That's going to keep compounding out, just like the rule of 72, okay, with compound interest. That can't be stopped. But we've got to make a new deposit. We got to make new investments. And if we can get that thing rocking and rolling along with the 160, that's how hierarchies kind of get built. And so, if your goal in 2016 is to get some promotions, let's say it's to get to regional leader, you've got to get your Series 6 and 63 accomplished. But if an RVP run is just 6 to 9 months away, that means that some of you could have a goal of being an RVP by the end of 2016. Because all an RVP run is 6 to 9 months. And so, if you're still figuring out I would encourage you to hurry up and get that thing figured out. And let's make 2016 your greatest year in Primerica. I'm excited to be your coach. I'm excited to be your mentor. I'm excited to be your friend, and I'm excited to be your leader. Let's go make 2016 great. Let's have a great time this Wednesday celebrating the end of 2015, and then as we look forward into 2016. Have a great night, team, and I'm available all week if you need me, and I'll talk to you guys soon.